20 shots were fired. Everybody inside the club immediately laid down, hit the deck.
Tonight, a security guard describes the chaos that unfolded as a fight turned into a shootout at a Pioneer Square bar.
America, we've been tracking Seattle's public safety collapse since the day that the Bite of Seattle shooting happened. New developments this week make that old story look like a simple warm-up. 20 rounds fired outside a Pioneer Square bar, right under a city surveillance camera. Except the camera was already shut off and the city itself is the one who flipped the switch.
Posted directly above that very intersection, and two others just 1 block away, are 3 Axis surveillance cameras, which were among the 22 installed by the city for the real-time crime center network in Soto and Pioneer Square, which were turned on to keep tabs on the crowds of the FIFA World Cup this summer. However, the mayor's office elected to stop the camera feed.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Back in July, a mass shooting tore through Seattle Center during the Bite of Seattle festival. People died. Seattle Police Department had a task force mobilized within 11 minutes flat. Cops, kudos to them, they did their job.
By 6:51 p.m., SWAT is called to the Seattle Center and getting in sync with Seattle Fire by 7:08 p.m. The timeline shows a fast tactical response, but we didn't hear from Assistant Chief Tyrone Davis or other officials until about 10:48 p.m.
So we have to understand what else happened. And we know that the chief was out of town. We know that he was briefed, we know that he was made aware, and we know that he was making calls.
Reporters were told there was a wait for dignitaries. The mayor and state leaders deny asking for a delay of a press update, but an internal SPD email written by a detective on scene indicates someone did. The Office of Inspector General is reviewing it all.
11 minutes to mobilize, nearly 5 hours before anybody told the public actually what happened. If you run a corner store or a bodega and your alarm company takes 5 hours to call you after a break-in, you do not renew the contract. At least I wouldn't. You fire them. Here, nobody actually got fired, technically. It was pure silence. The police chief got pushed out instead with a nice little severance package. And presumably, he's the guy that... he's the one that only did their job. Watch what the former Seattle police chief said, not some outside critic here, about the 5-hour delay to the public.
I was perplexed about why there was such a long delay for the press conference. That's a problem. Clearly, there's no way to dodge that fact. That's a problem. It's heartbreaking to me. People lost their lives, their families that are forever impacted. It's also heartbreaking for me that to know the police department did such a great job. They acted heroically. They saved lives. They prevented further injury, and yet that got lost in the debate about this 5-hour delay. And after a mass shooting event, after a catastrophic event like this, emergency communication, crisis communication, whatever title you want to use, everybody knows. You need to do a press briefing right away to reassure the public that you've got this, that you're on top of it, that you're addressing it. There's always going to be a big press conference later. It appeared to me in this case, nobody thought about, or it certainly didn't get done, that initial press briefing. And I think that was a big communications failure.
She said the mayor's office refusing basic safety briefing is something that she cannot believe happened. She used to run this department. Now, hold that next to the camera network. 60-plus cameras already up across the city. And the mayor paused any expansion of that the same day that she took office. 20 more cameras went up specifically for the World Cup in Pioneer Square, watching the exact block where that bar shooting that I mentioned earlier actually happened. The tournament ended, and she said those 22 cameras switched off. 4 days later, 20 rounds went off, under 3 of them dark. Her stated reason was data security and federal agencies tapping the footage. City council members, her own colleagues, said on record there's no evidence backing that concern up. So the cameras came down over a threat that nobody can point to, and stayed down through a shooting that everybody can point to. Looking at Katie Wilson, you can clearly see she is in way over her head. She did order an outside review through the Inspector General. That review, unfortunately, does not land until fall. A guy gets shot on Saturday. The paperwork, that'll get read in October. The people of Seattle already told her what they wanted those cameras for weeks before the shooting actually ever happened.
And all of this is now fodder for a new poll that's been commissioned by the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce and Challenge Seattle, which is a group led by former Democratic Governor Christine Gregoire. And that poll shows that of 500 people that were surveyed across Seattle, 75% of them want to have the closed circuit television camera program that exists in the city, and around the same number, 74%, would like to see it expanded. This has been a hot button issue in the city for Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson, who has put a pause on the expansion of that program and called for an audit. She had campaigned against this kind of cameras, saying that it could be used for surveillance for other purposes.
A city that generally votes further left than anywhere in this country of the United States, standing in front of bullet holes in front of a bar window, agreeing on the same thing. That's the poll that she got before the shooting. Here's the one that she got after. Watch what happens when that number gets bad enough and can't be spun anymore.
Okay, now, a new poll is out from Change Washington, asking people what they think about Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson, her job performance. And it seems to indicate there may be some growing dissatisfaction just months into her first year in office, with 2/3 of voters disapproving of her job performance and 6 in 10 people saying she should resign or be removed from office.
22% approve of her. Very, very similar numbers to Brandon Mohawk Johnson out in Chirac. 66% actually don't approve of Katie Plastic Bag or Katie I need to wash my hair Wilson. 60% say resign or get removed. And that includes 60% of Democrats who voted for her anyway. When your own base is done with you, finito burrito, go get some shampoo. That is not a media narrative here. That is electoral math. So you're probably asking yourself, Tyson, how does the mayor answer for any of this in person? Super simple. She doesn't.
So that is a legal process that will be playing out. I'm focused on leading the city and on making it an affordable place for people to live, and that's the work that we're here to discuss today. I personally will not be there. I will be represented by counsel.
Katie, I need to wash my hair Wilson is sending her lawyer to speak at her own recall hearing. Meanwhile, the city council, the people who are supposed to be checking on her, spent that time on camera doing this instead.
There's been a lot of backlash about the mayor's decision. So I asked Council President Joy Hollingsworth and Councilmember Maritza Rivera if they think Mayor Wilson should step down.
No, the recall, that's none of my business. That will be handled in the courts.
Yeah.
I'm focused, and I know my colleagues are focused on the continuing improvement of the relationship with the council and the mayor's office to make sure that we can run the city well. People want to know that their government is working for them, from the executive branch to the legislative branch.
Her success is our collective success as a city, and so I'm going to continue to do my part. That's what my constituents want me to do, is to stay focused on the issues and to build that relationship with the mayor's office.
None of my business. That is the council president on record refusing to say whether the mayor should stay in office after her own department calls the response an absolute failure. Nobody wants to be the one to say it out loud. Wash your hair. Everybody's job is to protect everybody else's job. And here's what all of this gets you on the ground in Seattle.
We begin tonight with 2 shootings in Seattle in less than 2 days. One of them deadly, and both of them without a suspect in custody. These shootings on the heels of the deadly Bite of Seattle shooting, which has only yielded 1 suspect into custody.
These stats should be in the Guinness Book of World Record. 2 more shootings in under 48 hours. 0 suspects in custody in that pair. 0 suspects in custody from the Pioneer Square. 0 suspects in custody from the original shooting where all this started. 3 separate crimes plus some. 3 separate weeks. The same word attached to every single one of them. Nothing. The bar's own security guard said it plainliest enough of anybody in this entire story. His policy is to search every person. A few women got through the search anyway, weapons and all. That's not the mayor's failure. And that is the whole system. The cameras to the doorway that simply just quit checking. America, she turned on the cameras for a month for World Cup tourists and turned them off a week for her own residents that needed them the most. She won't show up to defend her own job in person, but she'll send somebody else to do it for her. Her own counsel won't say her name out loud when a reporter asks the easiest question in the building. You don't get to light up a corner for the tourist, then leave it dark for the neighborhood, and then act surprised when the neighborhood stops trusting you. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.